We finished second, nearly 20 points off, out of the FA Cup first round, out of the Carabao Cup semi-finals, no goals. So Arteta.
Can I kick off? Because I think this is the most important rating of all of them, right? Because and I know we're nearly an hour and a half into the pod, but we should spend a little bit of time on this because he's the most important figure, if you like. I put a case forward for him getting a higher rating in that he's managed to finish second, albeit maybe by default in what's been a poor Premier League season. The stats show he has finished second again. He's gone one better in Europe, overcoming, again, albeit not the greatest Real Madrid team, but the stats don't lie. He's knocked out Real Madrid comfortably, I would say, over 2 legs. He's brought through Ranieri and Lewis Skelly. I think he's used the likes of Kivior and Marino as squad players relatively well. And I think there's certain games this season where I think he's tactically shown he's a very, very good manager. However, the case against would be his cup record again is not good enough. I can't get over the Man United defeat. That for me is the biggest blot on the season. That is unforgivable. You don't lose to Manchester United, who Spurs just beaten, at home with 10 men. You don't. That just can't happen, right? The 2 games against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup semi-final, they were better than us in both legs. Let's have it right. We weren't unlucky. They were better than us in both legs. His management of players has caused him to have the injuries that we've had. Saka, Saliba now, Gabriel, Havertz. These are all injuries because of the amount of workload he's putting on those particular individuals. That's on him. I don't buy this when I hear content creators saying, oh yeah, but after injuries. No, same with Spurs. I don't buy that with them. A lot of those injuries for me are self-inflicted. That's on his watch. I don't know if in January how much say he had in what could have come in or what couldn't have come in, but the fact is he didn't get anything in, and as Lee has said on many occasions, that's when our title chances probably died. So I would give him, factoring all that in the pot where the club currently is, we're in a good position. We're just not good enough to win a title. I would overall give him a 7. I don't think it's been outstanding. I don't think it's been excellent, but I think it's been above average.
7?
I think I'd give him a 7. Yeah.
Let me go next. I think he came into the season with a light squad and confirmed that was one of his wishes, regardless of what people want to say about Edu and the club and whatnot. He confirmed that out his mouth. Don't think he utilised Ranieri as much as he should have. And I think as the season progressed, we saw more and more evidence of that 88th, 89th minute coming on when we need something in attack. I mean, that's, his substitutions. They haven't been proactive enough. The handbrake's more on now than it was ever. When the old car, you used to pull the handbrake up, because they're a bit older, sometimes you have to pull it up more. That's what he feels like. He feels like he done this season. The handbrake's up, but there's a risk of it rolling. Let me make sure that really goes up. I think MLS fell into his hand. I mean, if you use that to praise him, then why did we buy Calafiori? If he knew that we have such a talent there, then we could have utilized that money better elsewhere. Cups, dreadful. As great as Real Madrid was, I think Man United was nearly as deflating as Real Madrid was exhilarating. And in interviews, he's been quite contradictory and hypocritical at times this season. So my rating for him is a 2 out of 10.
So before James and Lee come in, so I will change my rating. Sorry, I'll bring it down to a 6 because this was the season he had to win a trophy. I think next year it's got to be one of the big 2. But this was the year he had to win a trophy. I said at the start of the season on the podcast, he's got to win a trophy, and he didn't win a trophy. So I'll bring it down to a 6. No trophies is not good enough. So I'll give it a 6.
I agree with so much of what Turkish has said there. I'll give it a 3. And you know what? And actually, to a degree, I do think there's credit in. There is some credit in for everything that's gone on with the injuries and the situation, the small squad. You've actually finished second and competed in 2 competitions. However, I don't know. I still wonder how much of it is his fault. No, I can't get out of my head that the 3 players that had hamstring surgery in Havertz, Gabriel, and Saka, the 3 players that have played the most football over the last 2-3 years. I know some of that was at Chelsea for Kai Havertz. That doesn't surprise me. or maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. I haven't liked the style of football. I agree some of the stuff that's been said in press conferences, whether it be, I think you referenced this when we were recording yesterday, Turkish, whether it be, I don't compare ourselves to other teams, when literally the week before you were comparing our points tally to Liverpool and the situation it takes to win the league. He was saying, have I said no to a strike? He got quite, prickly with a journalist. But literally 2 weeks before, Charles Watts was saying, you say that we've scored all these goals as a calendar year, but if you look at these numbers, that suggests that there's a longer term problem. So there's been a contradiction there. There's, I'm super happy with the squad, but then I need all these players. It's been tricky for me. I don't know why in the absence of Ødegaard, Waneri wasn't used, but then in the absence of Saka, Waneri was the go-to. I've just been confused by a lot of it. But the big things for me is ultimately, have we underachieved in our goals? Yes. What are the reasons? Injury and squad size. I think a lot of that can fall on Arteta. We give him credit when he gets the players in. We've got to look at him too as the manager when we don't get players in. It's not just about the people upstairs. And ultimately, have I been entertained? Absolutely not. Because Arsenal finished second last season, the season before. Forget points tallies and all that. We just really enjoyed what we were watching so much more. I think this is a brilliant manager. He's come down again. I think he's a brilliant manager who's going to get there, by the way. I still think that delusionally. But I've been really disappointed this season.
Listen, 4 out of 10 for me. And the reason I've gone a little bit higher than what probably you guys have is that I think you have to give a man credit for managing a team without a striker and getting results. I don't.
And he's the reason, Lee, isn't he? Isn't he the reason we don't have a striker? Not the reason.
One of them. At the end of the day, whether he was given the reason or not, in January, he still had to coach a team to get results without a striker, and I think that's underestimated how difficult that is. Like, you know what I mean, to not have a striker for the whole season. So I'll give him credit for that. But for every other, I think he's failed on every other aspect of it this season. I think his management has been poor at times. Press conferences have been embarrassing. I also think the entertainment value. We had a discussion yesterday when we've come away saying that we've only been entertained in 2 games at the Emirates this season. Real Madrid and Man City, maybe Nottingham Forest as well. For the money that we pay to say that you have 3 games where you've been entertained. You know, I think you have to blame him that there was a change of style. That's down to him. There was, you know what I mean, like from what we have been in the last couple of seasons to this season. And I just think that, you know, like, can you blame him or can you blame the players? The Newcastle performances in the League Cup were shocking. Absolutely shocking. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we should be like heading towards the final there, really. Look, credit to Newcastle. I thought they was outstanding. But I didn't like it that another manager out-tactic us, out-fought us. And then I look at the FA Cup game against Man United. That,
it's unforgivable.
Unforgivable. Like that was, as you know, 10 men, extra time, shocking performance. And if I'll be really honest about it, guys, as I said earlier on, the Champions League has covered up 1,000 sins of this season for me. And we never challenged on 2 fronts, in my opinion. I don't think we ever put in a title challenge this season. We're up there, but we've never been realistically anywhere near a title challenge this season. So it's been a disappointing season. It's been a hard season. Like, after a couple of really, really good seasons and things to look forward to, this has been the one where I've been
bit of a slog, this one, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a battle. It's been a slog, you know, and you know, there needs to be some big things happening next season, and that I mean in players. Otherwise, the manager's going to be coming under the pressure where something's got to give. You know what I mean? We've got to look and get over the line next season. And at this moment in time, it doesn't look like, if I'll be really honest, he's the man to do that. So he's got to get in some players this season, and you know, I'm a lowest for being an Arsenal fan for a very, very long time. They've put me right up here and they've knocked me back this season. And it's not just Mikel that's done that; the club have done that. It's been a tough season. Like, not just watching Arsenal going to games, the ticket allocations, the way they do getting, the way that fans are being treated this season. I think, you know, it's been a real difficult one. And listen, Mikel is the one that you look for inspiration and lead from at times. And I think he's just let me down a little bit, especially with the press conferences at time. You know, I go back to, you know, we've gone out against Newcastle. I know what he's saying about the balls, but really, come on, you know, we've actually been battered about that. Then he goes and says, like, we're the team in Europe. Yeah, we wasn't, you know. Just little things like that, you know. Just be a little bit more.
Yeah, all plays a part.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys are right. James,
You got from 7 to 6 to 5 to 4.
No, it's a 5. It's a 5 because you guys are reminding me to my own kind of. I'm very big on style of play and enjoying what I'm watching, and this year it's not being enjoyable watch. So on that, I'll give it a 5. It's been an average performance from him this season. Average.
They're all in. They are all in. I'm going to pass this on to socials, and they can do what they like with it. Probably post it up. So obviously, the social side of AFTV will see it. But forever Arsenal community, you've been watching 1 hour 37 minutes. Who knew? Before game week 38 with nothing to play, we could deliver you a pod nearly 2 hours long. But here it is. Give us your thoughts in the comment section below.